Hi, Rachel. I'm back. It's been a little while, but I think that's probably just par for the course. It is November 10th, and I will show you my lovely board. This is Yarn Equals Joy, a knitting podcast. This is episode 14. We actually missed the podiversary, which happens about mid-October, so this is the first full year. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe I've stuck to it all this year. Where else can you find me? I'm Joan Magbags on Etsy. I am Rach Lee Book Girl on Instagram and Rach Lee on Ravelry. Okay, so let's get down to some knitting because I actually have lots today, lots and lots of things to show you. I have 3 FOs, so let me start with, well, they're all gift knits. This is the Butterbeer cowl by Tammy Gore, and it has a little line down the middle now because of being blocked and folded. You can see I have my beautiful little to figure out if anybody's interested. Just message me on YouTube and I'll get you the name of the maker. It was on Etsy, and I ordered quite a few of them because they're lovely. So the cowl was really simple. It has Marigold Jen, Sandman DK, Tosh DK in Silver Leaf, which is that greeny color, and then Tosh DK Twist in Sulfur, which is the gold. And I like it. I think this will end up being a gift knit for someone in a colder climate. The nice thing about it, to me, is that the bottom is, or the top, depending on how you wear it, ended up to be pretty stretchy. And when I put it on, I'm not going to do it now, but you can actually pull it over almost like a hood, so it really would keep you warm, especially under a coat. So I think that'll be nice. And the second one is also a cowl, and I will definitely not put this on because it has been drying for 2 days and it's still not dry. This is the Looking Glass cowl by Yarn It All by Jill. It's made out of Malabrigo Rasta in Ivory and Piedras. And there were great tutorials to show you how to do this cool stitch, and it went obviously really, really fast with the bulky Malabrigo Rasta. The only issue I have is that when I put it on, and this was before it was blocked, it was kind of stiff, and I don't know how comfortable it would be. But I think that if you were somewhere really cold, as I am not, since I'm in Texas, but if you were somewhere really cold, one thing, about this would be that it would be this incredible layer of protection and warmth around your neck. So I think it does have a purpose. I just saw her pattern on Instagram and thought that, it was just incredibly cool looking with these 2 colors. So, that is something to check out if you need a quick gift. And I'll talk more about quick holiday gifts at the end. This is also a gift that I finished. This is Helen Stewart's Wick shawl, and I have to find which side is the right side. I think this side is the right side. This is a really nice sized triangle shawl with a tiny bit of lace on the bottom, and it blocked out absolutely gorgeously. It has Hue Loco Phyllis sock in Hoarfrost, stranded dye work, single ply and feathered, and then there's a light blue Cannon hand dye. And they just really blend together, and it's hard to really even see where one ends and the other begins, which I really love. I will be brutally honest, I made some whopper mistakes on the lace in this, and I almost tanked the whole thing. But I'm glad I stuck with it because when it is wrapped around and on someone, there is no way anyone is going to call the lace police and figure out that there has been a major error. So it is for a friend of mine who doesn't knit, so I'm hoping she doesn't even notice or watch this or anything, but I love wearing shawls, kind of the old fashioned way, and this shawl is big enough that you can do that, which I love. Gosh, it's so pretty. I mean, I used to not be really a light blue sort of, whatever this is, light blue color, but I really am turning into one, and I absolutely love this. So anyway, that is going to go to its home soon because, ooh, there's like a loose thread that I have to deal with. I'll figure out what to do with that. Okay, so those are 3 FOs, which for me, with a full-time teaching job, felt pretty crazy. And I have, as anyone who's been following me knows, tons and tons of things on the needles at the same time. By the way, if you are new to checking me out, I hope you like visiting with me. These are really relatively short podcasts, about 20 to 30 minutes at the most. And realistically, they probably come out about once a month. I hope what I have to share is interesting to you. I started because I'm a big watcher of podcasts, and I realized that it would be fun to have more of a dialogue going instead of just a one-way conversation. So this is my way of taking part, even though I hate being on film. So that was a huge hurdle to overcome. But anyway, so the first project is something I'm really excited about. It is a project that many of you have probably seen. It is the Wondrous dishcloth by Jules Hill, who is So Sweet Violet, and she has an amazing podcast and Etsy shop and all sorts of things. This is a really interesting pattern. I saw a lot of people doing it, and I thought, wow, I would not use something this pretty for a dishcloth, but I would definitely use it for a face cloth to wash my face or to give, especially as a gift. You can see it is literally two-sided, so it has kind of a plain side with sort of these little blips in it, which I'll explain, and then it has a textured side, which is really perfect for a washcloth. This double thickness is really neat. You do sort of catch the other side. I won't give too many details because it's a paid-for pattern, but that does give it this sort of quilted texture and feeling. It's really unusual, and I am kind of hooked. However, I had a massive brain fart, for lack of a better word, when I went to try to start this. I've never done toe-up socks, so I have never cast on to 2 needles, and she showed a cast on, and I for some reason must have been reading multiple patterns or looking at multiple things, and I thought it was one cast on, so I started looking at YouTube videos, and then she has a video, and hers was different from the ones I was watching, and I saw one that Andrea Mowry had done, and I think it was the Hungarian twisted cast on or something. And after a million tries, I finally figured it out, and then I went back to Jules' video that comes with the pattern and realized it was on 2 needles and it looked very different. Turns out it's a completely different cast on. But anyway, I gave up. But I didn't completely give up because I really had my heart set on making these and giving these away. So I went on Ravelry, as one does, and I looked up projects to see if I was crazy or if someone else had had a problem casting on. Well, no, I don't think anyone else had a problem casting on. But someone said I used my Turkish cast on instead. So I went back to YouTube, I looked up the Turkish cast on, I found one that Jane Richmond had done, and watching it the first time, I was able to cast on. The deal is that you are just casting on 2 needles, magic loop, and then it's joined so that you're really just making this two-sided fabric like you would for a sock, only a sock would have a rounder shape, right? And so anyway, it worked, and I'm really, really excited that I was able to start it. And once you start it, it's really addicting. The little catch stitch that happens, you know, every so often is fiddly. I'm not gonna lie. I don't love it, and I don't totally know why. Sometimes it seems to show up on the outside, and sometimes it really doesn't. I don't know if I'm just catching it differently, or I don't know. But I don't think that's anything that would bother anyone. I know that there are lots of people who love these you know, crocheted washcloths that I've made before, and I think these are much cooler than those because they're double-sided and they just have two different textures, and they're just so cool. So I'm really excited about that. I thought that I was just doing this so I could use up whatever little balls of cotton yarn I had, and of course I got so into it that I immediately went to Knit Picks and ordered more colors of Dishy. This is Knit Picks Dishy in Mint, and I find this easy to work with. I know sometimes people don't like cotton, but I'm really enjoying this, and it's fun and quick. Okay, so that's one whip. The other whip is an old whip. You may have seen it if you've been with me for a long time. This is the Hermione's Everyday Socks, and this is one that's finished. It's Primrose Yarn, Sophia MCN in Made You Look, and I did make you look. I think it's gorgeous. It is light peach with light speckles. It lets the pattern really feel, you know, that it's the star of the show, and there is this much on the second one, and I have pulled them out of hibernation because I really would like to finish them and give them to my sister whose birthday is in early December. So if I can pull that off, that will be good, and maybe you won't see them again because they will be gifted. And then the third that I'm going to show you, although there are many more things on the needles, is another copy of the Harrington hat, which is a pattern by Jody Brown, one half of the Grocery Girls, Mrs. Brown's Bags. I am obsessed with this pattern. When I find a pattern that's really memorizable and looks incredibly complicated, I'm sold. And I have given away two that I just did with this to a young couple. I think I spoke about it on the last podcast, who were friends of one of my sons who'd gotten married, and anyway, they had them for dinner and gave them hats. This will probably be for one of my sons. It's in Madeline Tosh. Hold on, I have it written down. Oh, it's the High Twist DK in Kenobi. It's a really cool color. It's like gray with like this weird greeny tinge, but but this pattern is really easy to do and so easy to memorize. So I am excited to be working on that, and that will be another gift. So those are the three that I'm going to show, and then I want to talk a little bit about where I've been. So I didn't get to go to Rhinebeck. I have never been to Rhinebeck. I would love to go to Rhinebeck. I would like to move up there, live up there, and Rhinebeck would be my backyard. That would be my ideal scenario, right? But I have not done it yet. But one thing that we do have in Houston is the huge International Quilt Festival every year. And one of my colleagues and I are planning a course about women's handcraft and the power of craft and sustainability and mindfulness and the history of crafts and how craft becomes art and craftivism. It's going to be a 3-week January term in 21. My school is starting a Jan plan, and that will be for January of 21. My friend teaches science, but also has an interest in quilting and handcrafts, so we are going to do this together. So anyway, we went to research, and as always, the quilt show does not disappoint. It is an amazing, it's huge. It is this entire convention center filled with textile art and artists and vendors and good stuff to look at and to buy. But I am in much more of a knitting than sewing mode at the moment, and so I was really on the lookout for yarn, and there are very few yarn vendors, but there are always a couple. And I really lucked out this year. I found this company called Blue Bonnet Hills Alpaca Ranch, and I saw this color. And again, anyone who knows me knows I am a sucker for kind of neon-y things. But this is like a really beautiful 80% baby alpaca, 20% silk. It's a DK weight. It's spun in Peru and dyed in Texas. And I mean, I just don't think you get, and it is the softest thing I've ever felt, probably. So I'm thinking for me, I might do like a cowl or hat and mitts, something like that, and I think it's going to be really great. And then they had this really interesting yarn that I could not leave there, and it's a worsted weight, 100% prime Texas alpaca with thrums added, and thrums are these little sort of bits of fiber that are sort of woven into it. And if you can see, it's like a brown color, but it has like pinks and reds of these thrums. It's really unusual. I saw it knitted up. It's insanely gorgeous. This color is called Merida and Winona. And then I got a black that's just called black with a number, and that has, you know, all sorts of colors of the thrums too. It's just stunning, and I was so excited to find it in the middle of this oasis of fabric, to find yarn, and to find such beautiful yarn. So again, that is Blue Bonnet Hills Alpaca Ranch. I have not yet looked, but they did say they had a website online if anybody wants to check that out, and I would say go check it out. It was very cool. Okay, so that brings me to other kinds of joy. I don't have much. I would say if you have not yet checked out Kingdom on Hulu, it's a little bit of an older British show. I think there are 3 seasons. Stephen Fry, the famous actor and actually also writer, stars in it as Peter Kingdom, this solicitor attorney in a small coastal town. And it's just charming. It's the kind of thing I like, where there's an eccentric cast of characters and nothing too awful happens, and you really get to know the ensemble characters, and it's fun. It's just sweet and fun, and I think it ran for like 3 seasons, so there are, you know, some episodes to catch up on if that's something that sounds up your alley. Finally, sharing the joy. So we did finished objects, works in progress, stashing the joy, other kinds of joy, and now sharing the joy. So I haven't done that for a while because I think I got a little bit burnt out because, you know, the podcast viewership didn't really grow very much over the year, and I thought, well, you know, this is silly. Why am I doing all this? I think originally I thought maybe I would give yarn away every time, and I have not done that. But since this is technically the Potterversary, I found a gorgeous skein of mine of lichen and lace. It is Huckleberry in their 80-20 sock. So it's 80 superwash merino, 20 nylon, 100 grams, 365 yards. So it's kind of a plumper sock. Looks like a high twist. It's really gorgeous. It has all of these blues and purples. I think it could be a great sock for, sorry, that's Max, a great sock for you know, male or female, or it could certainly go into a shawl or even some sort of fade sweater. It's really pretty. So if you're interested in winning the Lichen and Lace skein, just leave a comment below and tell me what your favorite knit gift knits are. So if there's something, some pattern that's sort of your go-to, whether it's a dishcloth or a hat, a cowl, or mitts, just give us the name of the pattern and let us know whatever you want to tell us about it, and that will be great. So thank you so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram at RachelBookGirl, or Rav as, what am I? Rachely, sorry. And just keep knitting and finding the joy and sharing the joy. Thanks.